So we're out here today scouting a spot I've kind of shied away from these past couple of seasons. Reason being is hunting pressure. Not deer hunting pressure, but duck hunting pressure. I'm on a main trail right now that leads up to these ponds. We're gonna see if this sign picks up when we cross these ponds here into this thicket back in here. It looks like good bedding on the maps. It's all soupy, marshy. I mean, everything a deer could ask for in there. So we're gonna see if walking past the hunting pressure does anything for this sign, and see if there's gonna be a good rut spot back there. I actually shot my first bull buck out of that stand. Not that tree, but it was somewhere in here, maybe over here. And a buck come walking along this marsh line. Somebody moved that stand. The stand's been in here for years, but if I shot a buck this close to human pressure, I would assume that if we go past it, there should be some good signs. Something to pay attention to when you're out and walking trails in the marsh is what might have been walking through here. Them doe trails are normally nice and skinny, where a wider buck, you know, crashing through here with antlers, it'll be a wider trail, and you'll be able to, it'll be a distinct giveaway of which trails are doe trails and buck trails. So we've run into our first sign out here. Nice, pretty fresh buck rub. I'd say it's about maybe mid-thigh height. So here's the rub. All the way up, you can see these marks, and those are his tines. You can see back here too. Either he was pushing into this and hitting the back there, and he's either got some forks on his head, or it could be a decent buck, maybe a 2.5-year-old at that height. Nothing's really shredded in there, which kind of gives it away that he's not that big. But I'm assuming this is his bedding hole right here. I just looked in there, didn't find any sheds or anything, so no rubs. But right on the outside of it, there's some rubs. So we're gonna keep kind of looking. I think that might be just a satellite bed. I think that big boy's in here deeper. So we're just kind of out here browsing this edge. That thicket I was just in is kind of this way. In this marsh, these tags kind of butt up to this marsh. And I'm walking this edge here. I saw a little worn out bed, so I walked up to it. Here's that bed. You can tell it's kind of wore. And this rub here, these ones back here, I don't know if you can see them, but that rub right there, his antlers are hitting. And then the same on the other side. So he's in there, and he comes out. I mean, there's rubs all right here. There's rubs in the bed, and then there's a rub there, and then there's this little trail that goes in, and then there's rubs on the inside. But this is what I'm most concerned about. These trees and that tree, that little tag getting marked up. So I'm gonna follow these trails going in and out of this bed and see if there's any more rubs like that. This is the big boy I'm after. Chest height. There's marks from him going sideways probably. I'd have to assume this is broke, and this right here is about waist high. Center. You can see his forehead was probably here. If he was sideways, there's marks all the way down to the bottom of this rub. And there's a high spot right here, which looks like could be bedded on. This high spot right here. And then there's a couple low spots. He's bedded right here. That's a different deer for sure. An older one. There's another rub coming out here. He's definitely in here somewhere. Hopefully he was here late season and we can find his antlers. If he dropped them yet. Who knows? So I just walked. That bedding area is right where that tree is. And I just followed this main trail. It comes in. And look at this rub, guys. I mean, he is just demolishing it. And that's fairly new. That was definitely this year. I believe that one was probably earlier in the season. And this one was later. And his tine marks up there. All the way down. Hopefully he dropped them. I think he's using these beds at different times, possibly. There was a bed next to that down tree where a big log went down. Kind of looked like there was a bed up next to that, blocking the wind kind of. And then this is just all knocked down. I keep checking it out. On a good sign trail right now. So I walked maybe 10 yards back this way because this is all knocked down. I know it's been used. And that rub is right there. And there's a little high spot in here. If you get down in this bed, you might not be able to see it, but there's a rub right there. Bed's right there. Here's our rub. And this is the center of this rub is about to my hip. But you can see these tines again, about up to my chest. And then all the way down to about my knees. I'd have to assume it's a fairly decent buck. Even sign like that behind. Another bed, maybe 10 yards from that, where that big rub comes in on this trail. Behind it, that big rub is right here. And behind this bed in here, there's some rubs. Right there. And then there's a smaller one there. So, should give away, when you see a bed, you'll know. There'll be rubs, they'll be worn out and laid down, or they'll be flattened out. Not every bed will have rubs, but a good amount of them will. So I'm just going to keep following his exit routes and hopefully find more sign, find a spot we can hunt. So I'm tracking these exit routes out of this bed and maybe 10 yards from it. Get a scrape. Nowhere to hunt. So this is one of those scenarios. You find a scrape, not always huntable. And it doesn't look like it's too beat up. They're using it all year round. Probably just rut scrape. And there's a trail that goes right through all these tags. So we walk this marsh edge where it meets up to some beds and all that sign. And we run into this again. Antler height. They're all broken off. All the way back here. Tells me bucks are using this. And then there's a thick trail that goes through here. Once again, antler height. So I'm gonna walk down that way, see what that holds, and I'll come back this way. If there's sign over there, I'll probably be setting up on the other side of this marsh. Something you don't want to see out here. Nice little Argo trail through this marsh. private property right across the creek up here, so I'm sure that's what that is. I'm gonna make my way to that ash up here and follow my way up, because that right there gets walked like crazy. Guys hunting in here. These guys went that way. Can't stop them. Guess we'll just have to make do with what happened here. So I walked down that Argo trail, came back up, found an old tree stand on that tree right there. And I'm walking up and there's no sign. I mean, deer trails everywhere, tracks everywhere. No buck sign. And I get here, I heard a little snap and I looked over and there were deer bedded right on the other side of this thicket. I saw a head. Two of them took off to in front of me and one took off into the marsh. So I'm gonna go over there and see if I can find them beds. I'm standing where they're bedded right now. Don't see any antlers. There's a small rub right there. So that's not bad. I didn't see the one that took off into the marsh, but the two that ran in front of me didn't have antlers. So maybe I dropped them in here or somewhere else. So I checked them beds. Didn't find sign. No robs besides that little one. No antlers. But I started walking the way they ran. I found a little scrape. So I'm gonna keep following this trail. See if it takes me to find. So I kind of looped around these trees here and didn't see anything that really caught my eye. I was standing kind of right there in that opening looking, seeing if I could see any rubs. Or I looked in here because this looked like a decent bed right in here. Nice cover. And then I saw this. I thought to myself, nothing big. Well, if you look a little closer, this is the back side. This is broken off behind it. And off to the left, you got all kinds of markings. So if his forehead was here, it's a good 8 inches to each side. So not a bad buck. Nothing like that other guy we found. So I marked that on my Onyx. Now I'm gonna see if there's a couple of trees around here. I might be able to get in, see if I can find more sign maybe too. So we got up to this creek edge here and I found a big rib. Big boy. See these tine marks up here? Don't know, since it's kind of horizontal. It's like at a 45-degree angle. It's hard to say the height on that. But I'd say maybe right below the hip. The human access trail is along the river edge. You can't really cross this creek without hip waders or waders themselves. You'll sink your muck boots. So as we kind of merge to this trail, more human scent, the sign definitely goes down. And I walked a good 300 or 400 yards. Haven't saw a rub or nothing, so I'm gonna start looping back kind of where I came from and see if there's something coming from this creek edge into that bedding and see if there's a tree, huntable tree. As I shut the camera off, I walked right into this bed. Here's a rub, maybe about mid-thigh, nothing big. There is some markings up here, so it's hard to say. Could be a big deer. So I'm gonna follow these trails all around the bedding here. Show you guys the bed. There's the rub. Here's that little bed. So I'm gonna come out on this trail. See if there's any more signs. So I just followed that trail out. Kind of walked the edge of this thick tags. And I found this rub in here. I'm assuming his forehead was here. His antlers were hitting here. And then behind it, I'm assuming that's a brow tine. See if he's leaving any more sign. So there's nothing really in that. I found that rub, but I walked maybe 30 yards behind it, maybe less. Into here. Forehead. Maybe if he was going sideways, I mean, he's touching above my hip. This is broke. This is broke. Could be in here. Show you guys the area it's in. That's that rub, just underneath this little bush. Don't know. It's hard to say if he's bedded here or not. If he is, he doesn't have much competition, because he ain't rubbing much. Could just be a satellite bed for big boy in the back there. Pretty far out, but who knows. But nothing that really catches my eye. But still something to take into consideration. This buck could be bedded here, and if I want to hunt that buck out by that ash tree, I'm gonna have to take this guy into consideration. And there was some rubs over there too. Could be the same buck. I know it's not the big boy. So keep scouting. Take everything. Make sure you take everything into consideration and pay attention to the small details.